This is not my night at all. Alright everyone, thanks for coming out to the stream. I am Christopher Disciple Allen, and this is Disciple's Quest to become the very best shoutcaster ever. I'm going to hop in with Xell. He is one of my new friends, and I'm working on a project with him, which you guys will find out about next week. And he is going to do some platinum solo queue. I'm going to go ahead and just take a look at that, and we're going to have just a chill time casting it. I'm going to be working on just keeping up my flow, leaving out my ums and uhs, and just kind of the regular stuff. I'm still sick, so my voice is still going to be a little bit off, but we're still going to keep up what we can. We're going to hop right in there and look at the champions who are in here. Unfortunately, we did have to give up our challenger game, but the first few minutes were completely muted, and unfortunately, I went blissfully underwear. And so, over here on the blue team, we are going to see Xell will be there on Kha'Zix, most likely in the mid lane, playing that assassin with Tamhan on Shaco in the jungle, which will be very, very interesting. Omahawk on the top lane, Olaf, and then in bottom lane it will be Broken Chopsticks on Karma, supporting I Love Pupe on the AD carry Lucian. On red team, Big O will be jungling Gragas, which is something that we've actually been seeing quite often, and which is really powerful, almost a little bit more meta now than mid lane Gragas. Comatose is going to be on the middle lane Cho'Gath with whatever, one second, I stepped away from that, with whatever you want. I'm having trouble even seeing a name here on AD carry with Dark Parkour supporting as Sona, and then Sour in the top lane. Zach taking that teleport is going to have a hard time fighting against Omahawk, but should be able to get in some good ganks and good presence all over across the map. If not, then he will fall behind because Olaf will be able to just take over that top lane. We're going to hop now into the loading screen, so we can go ahead and just take another look at this, at how exactly Big O is going to try and go through here. Now, he has a pretty good early game. He doesn't necessarily have to wait until he is level 6 before he can gank. He can gank earlier than that. He has his body slam, and he has a good amount of damage from his barrel roll, as well as throwing the red buff on and going with the auto attacks. His auto attacks are powered or empowered by his Drunken Rage, because he does gain attack damage from that, which will buff his autos and his body slam, and so he can be a force to be reckoned with. However, Shaco as well is the early game terror in the jungle. He won't be nearly as much of a player in team fights as Gragas will later on in the game, so Shaco really has to make his presence known. He has to try to gank the lanes early, get them ahead, get himself ahead, and potentially go and steal some of the key buffs. If he can't get a solid advantage by, I would say, even the 12-minute mark here, then Gragas will firmly be ahead, and by that point, it's really going to be Purple Team's game. The later into this game it goes, the scary and scary Purple Team is going to be. They have a Vayne, who is pretty much the most hyper carry of the carries as you can possibly get. A Zac, who is a teamfight menace all throughout the game, but who can get an astonishing amount of health alongside Cho'Gath, and then Sona, who has a great teamfight ultimate, possibly the best of all the supports, and can definitely sway a teamfight at any point in the game. And then Gragas finally bringing themselves another AP carry to have an incredibly tanky teamfight-oriented team. The blue team, however, has some good early game plays in their pocket. They have a Karma there for the lane control. They have an Olaf who can scale well into the late game and really dive on to a troublesome Vayne and take her out, because he can't be knocked away by the Condemn, and he should have enough health that he's really not too worried about the crits. However, the True Shot, or the Silver Bolt procs, could be an issue for him as we get later on in the game, and Vayne has built up some attack speed. I'm going to go ahead and move around this scoreboard here, pop up the overlay so we can see everything that's going on. Going to change the team names because unfortunately we aren't spectating teams. This is going to be solo queue here, and we will see now where everyone decides to go for the level 1 and how exactly they decide to maneuver around. It looks like they're just spreading out pretty evenly right now. Shaco might just be setting up at this blue here, and with a box going down soon, I expect him to start at the blue and then immediately run to the red, since ganking without a red buff on Shaco is usually pretty foolish. He might want to consider stealing away his enemy's red, since Shaco can take that first buff so quickly. He can grab the Deceive immediately and jump over the walls to be able to get to that red buff before Gragas can even start it, and then either lie in wait with some boxes to gank him, or just simply steal it away. The red team is moving in here for an invade. They don't have Sour with them, but they have 4 of them moving through. They have good crowd control if Cho'Gath can land his Rupture, and I'm not sure Kha'Zix saw them move through. I don't know that Xell pinged anything out, so the red team could be unseen here. Xell has to be careful, but I'm not sure that they have vision on him. And if they can't get the drop on him, yeah, Xell is going to spot them out there. And Broken Chopstick's actually going to run pretty far forward. He's going to get the slow there, but he has to flash away from that one. A really bad play there, unfortunately, from Karma. I can't really say that it was, you know, she was completely blind, because they had vision of the enemy team. She just ran in way too far. Luckily, didn't get knocked out by a Rupture, else that would have certainly been death, but had to blow a pretty important summoner and lose almost all of her health before the minions even got to lane. Now everyone's going to fall back, with Shaco starting at his blue buff and Big O taking his own. Shaco actually taking a very long time in this buff, but there's the Deceive over. He throws out the recall, but immediately cancels it and runs over here, and he will get to the red buff before Gragas. That's the advantage of getting that Deceive in there. But it is warded out. They are going to spot him here. Gragas is instead going to go for the raise here so that he will hit the level 3 off of the red, while Shaco just stacks up these boxes. He's standing on a ward still. Oh, there is Vayne falling low. The first blood going to Vayne, but Broken Chopsticks quickly taking him out after. But with that first blood gold on Vayne, he will be able to buy a lot. Now Dark Parkour is going to go in there hard, heal himself up with the Hymn of Perseverance, and get out the kill in the support 1 versus 1. A 2-for-1 total for the red team. Now up in the jungle, Temhan had stead on that ward, but those well-placed boxes are going to get him out of there. No, Sour is going to jump over the wall. There's a Deceive backwards. The ward has finally died. And Temhan might be able to finally recall here. He throws down a box. I'm not sure exactly what his play is here. Sour is just looking around for Shaco, and it's giving Omahawk a lot of time here. Temhan is currently distracting 2 players just by himself. The fear comes out from the box, and once again, Big O is just standing in the bush, I guess, waiting for Temhan to come around. Another box goes down. Big O goes in for the slow. Temhan does have his Deceive in a second, and we'll be able to deceive away from there. Now Xell is coming in. They're turning on the Big O. The Ignite is down. The Flash misses, and Xell is able to flash after him, get him with the auto attack. Now Sour has to flash away. Omahawk has finally come down to join. He does have a level advantage on the Sour, and Omahawk will be retreating now back to his base. Temhan will finally get the chance to take away this red buff. He's taking a lot of health or damage, and Omahawk will have to tank up some of this. I'm not sure if he's going to give it up to him. No, he's going to smite it away for himself. He's about to die here. The teleport's coming in, and Big O is there for the stop. No, he's going to run around the back blind. There's the fear from the box. Temhan might be able to escape from this yet. He's still not level 3, but he doesn't quite need it. He's going in for the execute. He will lose that buff, but at least it's a buff that Gragas isn't getting. And with this low of a respawn timer, Gragas won't be able to run to the enemy buff in time. Look at these lines. Dark Parkour is actually doing quite a bit to I Love Poop. I'm sorry. You have a ridiculous name, sir. And Xell has a blue buff in the mid lane, which is going to help him out so much, spamming out those void spikes. Now Xell, yeah, he could just really jump around this lane throughout the Taste Their Fear. Whatever you want is zoning out I Love Poop pretty heavily, which is surprising in a Vayne versus Lucian mashup. But because of the gold advantage over here on the red team, they have just the ever slight advantage of being able to push them out, especially since Lucian did not get a kill out of that engagement. Omahawk has a 2-level advantage on Sour in the top lane, which is going to be devastating for him unless Omahawk decides to play back by his tower. And of course this is solo queue, so odd things are going to happen, but we're going to take them as they come and hope to predict their actions to the best. Now Omahawk is putting a lot onto Sour in the bottom lane. Dark Parkour did get a kill, but there's the Ignite onto Sour. The flash in is going to only pop his passive, and Omahawk won't be able to stay in. That was a flash burn for the passive. I'm not quite sure that was worth it. Now Big O is running around in the enemy jungle. Broken Chopsticks is finally respawned and coming back to lane, but the series of advantages for the red team are really going to add up, especially since it is a Vayne we're talking about. We'll be able to get a quick Blade of the Ruin King and turn that into a lot of damage, scaling so well with the passive as well as Vayne's natural mobility and assassination component. Eventually with the Blade of the Ruin King, Omahawk has disconnected unfortunately, and hopefully we won't see a 4v5 here. That would not be the most fun to cast, but we will stick with it anyway. They could be slightly disheartened though, since the red team is quite ahead now. Only 600 gold, but when you think that, you know, 1 kill is on Vayne, 2 are on Sona really. Sona has 100% kill participation here for the red team. And there's Omahawk coming back to join us. Tenhan just being forced to wait up in this top lane, hold it against the turret to keep any damage from coming onto it as Omahawk hopes to come back to lane. He is finally going to get the chance to buy, but he is behind in farm to Sour despite the amount of time that he spent in the top lane while Sour was roaming around the jungle. Dark Parkour is moving down here into lane with I Love Poop and Broken Chopsticks finally pushing this out. They have evened up the farm for the ADCs, but it's still going to be a slight differential in gold. Just about 200 here, as Vayne does have the first blood assist. The Bilgewater Cutlass on Vayne going to be powerful here for both sustain and the active slow if they do get a gank from Big O. He's only level 4, is going to be looking at the level 6 soon, is most likely going to take this blue buff for himself. And with that experience, he should be able to hit level 6 after just a couple more jungle camps past the blue. Dark Parkour and whatever you want have an empty bottom lane right here. That's going to be more time that Vayne is farming up, getting ahead, and hopefully carrying this in the late game. Now Tenmon has moved again. He's stealthed in. There's on the box. The Fear doesn't connect, and Comatose is able to flash away. Xell uses the ultimate, but isn't able to quite get in there. And Comatose will survive this one, but missing a flash. Dark Parkour and whatever you want, finally getting some damage on that bottom turret, taking it down to about 2/3 here. A good place to be in here, especially having the minion and kill advantage. In the top lane, I believe Omahawk is just continuing to have some connection issues as he plays this back a lot further than he needs to. Right now, Olaf has a huge advantage over Zac, since Zac's sustain won't be doing nearly as much as Omahawk's true damage will, as well as his ability to duel once he falls to low health. Omahawk waiting in the bush here. Might want to look to go on the Sour, but he is a level behind. Omahawk, they're just going for the auto attacks. I think he might be nope, yeah, he's disconnected now. Sour's just going to be able to chase him on a little bit. Actually goes in for the Let's Bounce. Omahawk runs back into the turret. I would really love to see him kill Sour. Disconnected, but Sour's not going to go in quite that far. Now the bot lane is dueling. Broken Chopsticks falls low, but throws the Ignite onto whatever you want. The culling comes through, but is cancelled, and that's going to be Broken Chopsticks dying once again. Dark Parkour and Big O try to go into the tower, take a shot, but back out. And Tenhan is now just defending up in the top lane. In the bottom, I Love Poop is against 3, but the Explosive Cask is down. He's not in too much danger unless Big O might want to go in for a flash here. A flash body slam could be particularly devastating. Xell is going to come in onto a ward, try and go for the flash hop, but he can't quite connect. The slow miss as well, and now he's running away from 3, has to ult out, and will be able to escape here. I Love Poop has to be careful as well. Whatever you want, moving in here on the Xell once again, who tries to turn around, has a lot of damage to Taste Their Fear, but backs away. He doesn't have the isolation, and he has to be afraid of Big O, who flashed him for the body slam, but Xell turns it around with some intense damage early on. He picked up the pickaxe, and that 25 damage means a lot here. I Love Poop gets the piercing light onto whatever you want, but can't quite get it. But there is Dark Parkour, doesn't have the flash, is trying to run away from this one, is going to get it with the movement speed. Broken Chopsticks doesn't connect with the Q. And that's going to be 2 kills here for the blue team without any casualties, since Broken Chopsticks did go back to base in a coffin. Xell, returning to the mid, is going to actually be ahead in farm over Comatose, which is a really good position to be in, both roaming and winning your lane. Another blue buff for Xell as well is going to mean that Big O will continuously supply him with that mana regeneration that he can use to abuse the lane. My throat is taking a beating as long as these players Oh, Temhan is coming in for the gank on the Comatose. There is going to be the slow. The box won't be able to get the fear, and Comatose will run out of this one. Throws the Ignite onto Xell just to dissuade the dive, and Temhan tries to follow it up, but goes a little bit too far there. Takes a few turret hits, and Comatose will be safe again, but he does have to recall, which is going to be more time in the middle lane for Xell. Temhan might want to turn this back on. There's the ult in from Xell, the jump. Big O can just body slam away from this, and that is a couple big cooldowns burned. Both these players now. Sour is moving in. He's going to get the leap there onto Xell. He doesn't overshoot it. He lands at the explosive cask, picks up the last hit. Big O gets his blue buff back, and the transfer is complete. He said, "Thank you for holding that for me while I respawned," and then came back to reclaim it. Dark Parkour and Whatever You Want are now doing quite a bit of damage to the bottom turret, have it below half, and will be able to just keep up the dominance in this mid lane. I'm not even sure where that kill happened. Oh, right under the turret. So Temhan was able to find the kill there, but right now Shaco is doing what he needs to. He is ahead of his opponent, of his opposing jungler. But you guys have to remember that eventually Whatever You Want is going to scale really heavily, that Comatose and Sour are going to get huge in terms of health and defenses, and that Big O is just going to be a more effective late game jungler than Temhan can be at really any point of the late game. Omahawk continues his string of disconnects. He only has 27 farm. Unfortunately, Dark Parkour going in aggressively. The Condemn forces I Love Poop back. It doesn't get the stun, and Broken Chopsticks tries and gets the snare, but takes a lot more damage than she bargained for. Bot lane going heavily in the red team's favor. Sour just pushing in on an empty lane, and this is looking more and more dire for the blue team here. They're still even in kills, but they are down almost 2,000 gold. Omahawk rejoins us again, and we're just going to have to hope he stays with us and that he can catch up to Zach in the top lane. He's about a third of the farm. Xell moves in on the Comatose in the mid, but Big O is there for the gank. Xell tries to ult away, but the explosive cask is there, and it's going to equate to a kill for Comatose. The ganks here have been solid from Big O, in at least assuring a couple of kills. However, they just lost they also just gained for their team a turret in the top and the bottom, which is going to bring them ahead now. 4,000 in gold. There's the crescendo from Dark Parkour, but he is going to go down to Temhan, who ulted that in the 1v2. Now Whatever You Want chases in on the Temhan. Does get the silver bolts proc. Temhan's going to stay in there though, and does get shut down, but Broken Chopsticks is going to try to find the damage to finish him off. He's not going to be able to catch up to him, and then up atop, Sour did slay Omahawk once again. Omahawk is falling low in levels, only level 6 to this level 9 Zac, and he can't get that far forward if he doesn't want to trade his life for it. With all the outer turrets down here for the blue team, they have to be forced into a really defensive position. The jungle is no longer safe for them. They really have to be throwing out wards there, which they haven't yet, and we really need to see now Omahawk and I Love Poop's warding totems used here to gain some vision for their team. Whatever You Want is going to be up in their jungle at the race while the blue team does push the bottom. However, her own jungler Big O will be there to defend, and I doubt this turret is going to see a lot of damage today. That's Broken Chopsticks and I Love Poop now disengaging. Oh, Sour's in a fight here in the jungle, though, falling low. There's not a chance he's getting out of this one. Or is there? Is this going to be one for the highlight reels, ladies and gentlemen? No, Xell ults in. They do pop the passive, and they should be able to finish off these bloblets there. Let's see who gets the kill, though. I think it'll be Xell. There it is with the Taste Their Fear, bringing in his third kill of the game. He has picked up a Ravenous Hydra for both the lane clear, the pushing potential, and the burst damage when jumping into a fight. It's a pretty solid pickup on Kha'Zix now. It definitely provides him with a lot, and we'll see how exactly he can use it to try and bring his team back into the game. They are almost 5,000 gold down now. There's Temhan going in for the Saw and the Comatose, but he can barely scratch him at this point. Temhan is going for a very glass cannon build. Broken Chopsticks get caught, but is able to flash the barrel explode. Wow, I am so sick. It's just completely screwing over my brain at this point. The Explosive Cask is the name of that ability. Red team now positioning for a dragon, the first one of the game, are going to be able to position this, and we talked about how Shaco really needs to be ahead by about the 12-minute mark, but his team is falling more and more behind. And although he has a few kills under his belt, Big O does have almost double the CS and is going to be able to take that dragon, as well as 3 turrets in their team's favor. The Rupture lands on the Taemon. There is the flash crescendo. They get the stun on the Taemon. He is silenced and he is running for his life. He was stealthed up, but he won't be able to escape from this one. Comatose takes a kill on that. His second. He's 2-0 and 0. Now Big O is just trying to push on into the jungle where the blue team is trying to defend. They don't have many wards in this at all. Big O is just standing there dancing, but knew he could escape with that body slam, and he will be able to get out of this one. Omahawk leaves once again, and I think this is a rough spot for blue team. They don't have a lot of resources on their team to be able to come back. Lucian doesn't have his Bloodthirster yet. If he can pick that up, then maybe he can bring something around with his burst. And if Omahawk can get back some of his farm, if he can rejoin us in this game, then maybe we can see something from him. But at the moment, it looks unlikely. Temhan now trading on the Sour just can't do too much damage to him. Temhan has gone for the Static Shiv as his first item and doesn't have it quite yet. And he's just not going to have any sort of health or defenses here, except for a couple of Doran's Blades that he did pick up early on. Now Broken Chopsticks and Xell moving on to Sour come from what we could say is the wrong direction, as Sour is able to just run away, bounce over the wall. Xell can't quite burst him down, and that's going to be Sour escaping with his life and with his passive. Now whatever you want chases on the I Love Poop, who had a great culling to force whatever you want low enough that he couldn't dive. Unfortunately couldn't turn around for a kill. He wants to get the shutdown on the Vayne. He wants to stop her spree. Omahawk has rejoined us here, and hopefully he will be able to regain some of that disadvantage he's accumulated in the top lane. Xell moving into Dark Parkour does an astounding amount of damage, throws out the Ignite at not quite the right time. The Crescendo came across. The ult's there from Comatose, who flashes after Xell, tries to go for the kill. Xell might have the escape here, and he does. He dodges away from the Rupture, and he does waste the time of 2 opponents here, but doesn't get the kill on the Dark Parkour. Whatever you want is just able to continue to farm up these golems. Broken Chopsticks can't do much to stop him here, as he is only 1 in 3 and has nothing more than a Frost Queen's claim and the basic boots. Omahawk coming in and out of this game is still down below 30 CS, the lowest in the game besides the supports. But now whatever you want could be caught in a rough position. That's going to be the shutdown for Temhan, who's going to be rather happy with this new position he's found himself in. With the extra gold income there, he's finally finished up his Static Shiv, and he might be looking to get more damage at this point, since he really just has to hope to assassinate someone in a team fight situation. Blue team is all but screwed at this point. The 6,500 gold advantage for red team is going to put them in a spot they are excited to be in. Omahawk, only level 7, is just going to look and hope for some experience out of this lane. He really can't afford any teammates to help him and leech experience, but he's just going to actually run back to base. Comatose goes for the dive here on Temon, who was pushing, but I believe Temon should get the escape there. And now this is just several members of the blue team not quite sure what to do, clearing out the mid lane, but not sure what objective they're going for. The dragon is still down, going to be down till about 21.5 minutes. And so there's no real objectives for blue team to take here. They really need to just play safely and ward up their jungle, which they have done ever so slightly, but just not quite enough yet. Big O has managed to cap his early feeding spree, as it will, and he's going to pick up a Neelisar's Rod, going for a bit of the AP carry jungler role. If that gets turned into what I would expect here to be a Rabadon's Death Cap, it could be really powerful. With that bossing one, it will be the Rabadon's Death Cap, and that's just going to be an immense amount of magic damage in team fights that his top and mid lane will bring to a degree, but not nearly as much as he can with that explosive cask. Ooh, Sour's going to escape from this one, or at least try to. Xell is on his case from behind. Sour does not have his flash up, and now Xell ults in. Sour is going to aggro the Baron with the Sunfire Cape and try and position there. That's going to be Sour popped into his passive. Broken Chopsticks almost falls here to the Baron, but the Baron is going to not finish off Sour. Xell does come in from behind, and he will fall to the Baron there. Sour grabs the kill there. I think if Xell could have stayed to the back, then he wouldn't have fallen. Oh, now whatever you want is caught in a rough spot, and Temhan is able to take him out 1v1. That ultimate so powerful. Meanwhile, the supports did get into a 1 versus 1 as well. Omahawk leaves yet again, and this is looking like game over for blue team. This certainly has been rife with some illness, and I apologize for the quality of my voice right now as well as my commentary, but I'm happy to be able to bring one of these every day. Remember that if there's anything on my casting that you want to give your feedback or advice on as a viewer, then go ahead and drop it in the comments when I upload this to YouTube. And although you might not know everything there is to know about casting or the game, I just want to know what you think as a viewer, what will make this most enjoyable for you, so that I can eventually become the very best shoutcaster ever. This game is now separated by about 7,500 gold, with red team taking commanding lead in this game. They haven't managed to push any of the inner turrets except for the middle one. Now I Love Poop is looking to gain something in the mid, but there's a disengage from the explosive cask. Really solid there from Big O, going to keep his teammates safe. And blue team just looking for any pickup they can, really scrambling for kills, are having trouble finding them. Blue team has just kind of run aimlessly around mid, sometimes running into an enemy champion and looking for a pickup. Now blue team might actually be going for this dragon here, which is live. Big O is there to contest, but Xell will jump to the other side of him, cut him off. They do get the slowdown with the Void Spikes though, and I Love Poop tries to follow up as well. Big O flashes back over the wall. Whatever you want was there to take out Broken Chopsticks, and Big O will be safe on the back. Now Xell is in a rough spot, running away from this fight. Whatever you want chases onto him, gets the double kill there. I Love Poop, most likely not falling for this world, throws out the culling, and it's not even tickling Sour. Sour does grab the kill there, and that's going to be 3 kills for red team. And they're going to look to turn onto the inhibitor turret here after pushing through the mid lane. Whatever you want is pushing out the bottom here. And as we get later and later in this game, it's looking bleaker for this blue team than ever before. They have a Vayne with almost a static Shiv on top of the Blade of the Ruined King. Zach is getting more health, picking up the Random Omen, and that's actually going to be a Baron attempt from the red team. Now the blue team is respawning, and they aren't necessarily taking this down fast. They don't have their AD carry with them, and they might see Temhan come in and try to steal this. Big O falls low after taking just a few shots from Baron. Temhan has no idea they're doing it though. Omahawk just suicides for this turret. I'm not sure what that was. He might have given up on this game, unfortunately, for the blue team, but let's see if they can make anything of this. They don't have the vision, though, and Temhan isn't expecting this. He's just pushing out the top. If he gains a turret for it, it'll at least be 1 pickup for them. Red team is taking forever on this, though. This is humorous how long it is, but there it is. They finally take it out. Now Xell, and whatever you want, dueling it up in the jungle. Xell does a surprising amount of damage, but whatever you want has a disengage from the Condemn. Is looking for the flash over the wall, throws down the barrier to absorb a little bit of damage there, but did not have the flash, and was eventually taken out there. Another shutdown. The 7-4 Vayne looking frightening. Will be picking up the static shift there. Her opponent here, Lucian, does only have a bit of a has a Phage and a Bloodthirst. And now Temhan, caught in the enemy jungle after pushing up, did get the inner turret. Is getting a lot. There's the explosive cask pushing him out. Dark Porteur does grab it with the Hymn of Valor and is grabbing that kill for his team, the 17th of the game, bringing them up to a 9,000 gold advantage, with our red team in a really, really conclusive lead here. That's going to be Sour with the Sunfire Cape, the Randuins, and a Chain Vest on top of that. He's looking massive with a lot of health and armor against an almost all AD team. The only AP champion there being Karma on support, who doesn't have much AP outside of a Frost Queen's Claim and a Morellonomicon. Shaco has gone for a full offensive build with the Berserkers, Greaves, Ravenous Hydra, and the Static Shiv. Unfortunately, that's really one of the only routes you can go as a Shaco jungle. You really have to pick it for the early aggression, and if you can't bring yourself out like that, if you don't have a late game to fall back on, then you're in a rough spot. Broken Chopsticks getting taken out there once again, not too surprising. The culling connecting onto Dark Parkour, finally going to bring him down. Timon grabbing the kill there, and I Love Poop gets a kill onto Comatose. That's a couple picked up there for the blue team, which is going to help stave off this push onto their base. Omahawk only level 8, falling back once again to buy. Hasn't picked up a major item yet besides the Ninja Tabai. Whatever You Want has some more alone time in the bottom lane, has the most farm in game at 168, which is a pretty good spot to be at 25 minutes into the game. Not professional level, but a good amount of farm to have here in this platinum game. Now Sour is moving down to potentially dive on whoever comes to stop Whatever You Want. They're going to see I Love Poop there. Whatever You Want takes a bit of damage from the piercing light, and I'd like to see the bait here, but I'm not sure Whatever You Want feels confident enough. With Xell coming around the side, I agree with the decision to back off, and Xell is still a fearsome opponent even though he's only 4 and 5. He hasn't been able to find nearly as much as he has gone looking for, and the blue team just continues to scramble for ways to come back, but now I Love Poop gets caught out by the explosive cast, takes half of his health. The barrel will misses though, and he dashes past with the Relentless Pursuit, and now he's going to come up with the culling, which doesn't do damage, but does dissuade Sour from pushing on any farther. At least he survived here, but he's not going to get much out of it. He has a third of his mana and a half of his health. Now Dark Parkour walks in rather aggressively. The snare connects, but there is the beautiful crescendo going to send up both of them. Dark Parkour flashes in for the Hymn of Valor. Whatever You Want takes up a lot of turret damage, but isn't going to fall. Now Comatose can walk in here, tank up a lot of that. He has built a mostly AP build, but he is going for the Frozen Heart. On top of that, Tomahan split pushing in the top lane is going to grab this inhibitor turret. It's looking to be almost a bit of a base race. Comatose is going to back off to stop him though, and Dark Parkour falls low here. He's going to fall the Broken Chopstick. Xell is actually going to keep him off the inhibitor turret, and that's going to be a bigger objective gain for the blue team. The inhibitor falls as well to Tamhan. Now he's dueling with Comatose, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to make it out of this one, but taking the inhibitor was worth it. Let's see exactly how this chase unfolds. There was the slow and the knock up there. Temhan trying to run away. The silence misses though, and that's going to be Temhan escaping. He pauses to laugh, but he won't be knocked up by any of these ruptures. Sour caught as well to Xell. Xell almost grabs him, flashes in for the last taste there, Fear, and now is going to work away at these bloblets, and that's going to be a kill here for Xell, bringing himself up on a killing spree to 7 and 5. This almost looks like blue team's comeback. Omahawk is trying to farm up, has now brought himself back up to level 11, which is ahead of his actually nobody in the game, unfortunately, but a turret picked up as well is going to mean an exposed base in the top lane, as well as both outer turrets gone, bringing them up to just a turret differential of 1. There's only one separating these teams. They're still behind 8,000 gold, which means less at this point in the game. However, we also always have to remember that Vayne has a scary late game. She's now picked up a Last Whisper on top of those attack speed items. Now with that pickaxe, is going to be going for an Infinity Edge. No defense here on the Vayne means that Xell and Temman have an opportunity to assassinate. However, if Vayne is left alive, it's going to be absolutely devastating for any health bar, especially the low ones of this blue team. I Love Poop's going to grab up the red buff here. Temhan almost looks for the steal there. I'm not too sure who that was going to, but there will be the rain slow there now. Big O's going to be moving around here in the jungle. Will immediately blow up Tenhan. That was huge. The barrel roll, explosive cask, and body slam, sealing his fate for the next 40 seconds. Blue team has to be more careful about where they walk around, even in their own jungle. They don't have any inner turrets left on the map, and that's going to be more opportunities for the red team here, especially with Temhan down. That's more time to move in to secure their own buffs and gain a position of strength around the Baron and Dragon. Big O taking away that red buff is going to have at least that melee slow. At this point, it might be better on Whatever You Want, but at this point, the location and convenience are always key. You can't waste too much time running across the map to grab something, because with the 40 and 50 second death timers rolling in, you really have to make do with whatever time you get to push down a lane. A bit of a dance party here in the middle lane as red team gathers, hoping to go for the inhibitor push here, I would believe. Whatever you want, continuing to farm up through this game. Has now fallen behind in farm only to Comatose, her teammate, who has broken the 200 minion mark as well, is going for the Randuin's Omen. So a double Randuin's on this team is going to mean a huge teamfight presence, as well as Dark Parkour bringing out not only the Talisman of Ascension, but the Locket of Iron Solari and the Twin Shadows as well. That's going to be a lot of teamfight control here for the purple team, and Blue really can't afford to fight in a 5v5 engagement whatsoever. Temhan is continuing to go for this split push strategy on the side. He will grab this inner turret. His clone does fall, but now Sauer isn't on them. He tries to deceive away. He is silenced up, but he runs the opposite way. He does juke him out. Now Big O is in there, is going to not spot him, not turn around. Temon will escape here. He's really been carrying this team on his back, at least in terms of the pushing. Whatever you want. Moving in on the Omahawk, has the speed from his passive, throws the ultimate for the increased speed, and is able to grab it. Now the crescendo comes across from Dark Parkour. Lucian tried to get to the wall in time, but the crits from Whatever You Want are just too powerful at this point. Whatever You Want is now a 9-5 Vayne, going to be one of the most ferocious characters on the map. And with a tanky front line for this Vayne, it's really frightening to think about what could possibly happen for this blue team. Temhan tries to go for that bottom inhibitor, sneaking around, but the teleport from Sauer does stop him in his tracks. He does move up for the top inhibitor, and he will get that before Sauer can stop him. He throws the Let's Bounce in a desperation attempt, but Temhan does grab it out, is now moving away, and that's the late game Shaco split pushing strat. Xell now moving in the mid lane. Temhan gonna go right back in this base. Maybe wants a bit of Nexus turret damage as well. Red team has taken the Baron with Temhan still pushing up in the top. Sauer coming back though, does not want to lose a Nexus turret, and Temhan will retreat away. The Baron picked up though is going to be monumental here for red team, allowing them to push up. Xell taking out that mid inner turret is now going to ult away, trying to escape from the red team who did respond. The explosive cast stops him, but doesn't force him back, but that's going to be the barrel roll claiming his life. The third kill here for Gragas, almost positive now. Xell has been officially shut down, 7-6. Has a rather strong AD assassin build here with the Black Cleaver, Ravenous Hydra, and Last Whisper, but he's just not finding those targets to move in on. Temhan continuing to just annoyingly run around the enemy jungle. Might look to wait until the red team moves out and then make his attempt onto an inhibitor here, but it's just looking unlikely as to where he might be able to grab that next opening, as the red team really isn't looking to push. The gold lead has finally extended itself to about 12,000. However, red team just hasn't been able to make a conclusive inhibitor play yet, and we're going to have to see that from them. What they always have going for them, of course, is that late game of Vayne, of Gragas, and of the tanks there on Zac and Cho'Gath. Looking at these builds, that's finally the Infinity Edge picked up here for Vayne. A huge aggressive AP build from Gragas with the double Ninja Sarge items, rod items, the beginnings of a Lich Bane there in that Sheen. Zac is going pure tank with the Randuin's Omen, the Sunfire Cape, the Thornmail, and another Giant's Belt that could potentially be going to a Rylai's Crystal Scepter for a little bit of ability power. I Love Poop does manage to secure a dragon by himself, which is going to be a little bit of gold back for his team, bringing them up to 10,000, but gold really isn't what's key here. Xell stealths in for the assassination on Dark Parkour, tries to find it. The crescendo is there. Dark Parkour still running away. The ignite is down. He throws Locket of Iron Solari and will be able to survive that ignite with the heal from the Hymn of Perseverance, and a lot burned for a kill on a support that didn't even happen. Music has stopped. I'm going to remind Pandora that, yes, I am indeed still listening as we get right back here in the game with some OK Go. Big O and Comatose are going to find that the dragon is not, in fact, there. It is still an objective on the map, but just not nearly as big of an objective as Baron or those inhibitor turrets are going to be. Red team isn't grouping, isn't making those plays. They're wasting a lot of time, a lot of valuable time here as they have such a solid lead. But now this could be it, where they're moving in, throwing down the wards, scanning out. Dark Parkour does have the oracles. And it's going to be a Talisman of Ascension coming in. Broken Chopsticks does flash the Rupture. That's the slingshot in from Sour. Can't find anyone. The minions aren't there to back them up. And that's Temhan pushing in the bottom lane. The recalls come out from Red Team, and they won't be able to push this out either. The minions are just working too hard here. Big O almost falls. Is able to escape with the explosive cask and the body slam. Temhan has ulted and is going to be able to take out this inhibitor turret. We'll see if they can stop the recalls here on the blue side, but the red team is going to get that recall off. However, the inhibitor's falling close. Temhan's going there. That's 2 inhibitors taken from Temhan. And he's just going, oh, there is the deceive away. Big Ho misses the, oh, now Xell flashes in on the Big Ho for the leap. The Zhonya's was there, but he still fell anyway. Whatever you want now turns onto them. They haven't focused her down yet. He's still alive. The crescendo is there. Now whatever you want is on fire with the double kill. Broken Chopsticks runs behind to try and burst him down. He does. Broken Chopsticks grabs the kill, but I Love Poop is going to fall here. Eventually, the Rupture misses. No, I Love Poop still alive. The speed buff is there from Dark Parkour and the Talisman of Ascension. Dark Parkour grabs a kill there. Sona has 8 kills. Honestly, if this wasn't a 4v5, this would be a much closer game. Amahawk just not really a participant in this game at all. Temhan doing what he can to try and bring this game around, playing this very well as Shaco, but finally grabbing some defenses as well with that Chain Vest. Might be going for a Guardian Angel to be able to split push a little bit better even after he's killed. That'll also give him some time for his Deceive to come back off of cooldown to continue running away. Bane picking up the Chain Vest, going to go for a Guardian Angel as well. Lucian just scrambling to get some damage, has the Last Whisper, Bloodthirster, and Trinity Force. That Negatron Cloak most likely going to be turned into a... really could be anything. Probably going to be a Banshee's Veil though. And Olaf has gone the tanky route, which is what you should do when you're behind on Olaf, but he's just not really using it to tank up anything as he has had trouble participating in these fights. Dark Parkour going to take away the blue buff for himself, assuring him at least a little bit of gold here. And at this point, this is going to be a rich support. If we compare some of these gold totals, that will be Sona with 13,000 under her belt, which is actually more than everyone on the enemy team. Even Xell, the richest member of the blue team, will be about 50 gold behind Dark Parkour on support. The dance party comes in from red as they defend their base, which is really not the position you'd expect them to be in. A pink buff at the inhibitor is going to delay Temhan just a little bit, keeping him from stealthing in there, or if he decides to take it out, keep a little bit of damage off of the inhibitor. And they have to be careful about it, since an exposed inhibitor is always a target for a Shaco to jump into. Now blue team is waiting here in a bush. Comatose not going to walk that way though. Blue team might want to move a little bit farther forward unless Comatose is going to come into the bush. There he is, so close, but they don't decide to move on to him. Big O and Sour coming around as well. They move on to Sour, the tankiest member of the team, and they aren't able to loosen down, but there's a jump over from Xell. The excellent Zhonya's keeping Big O alive for just a second longer. They are able to return a kill on their Broken Chopsticks, with Temhan following immediately after. Whatever you want, rolling into the fight. Finally there, Amahawk taking the Wolves, like the unparticipating lack of a really waste of space that he is. Unfortunately, it has to be connection issues, I would hope, or else Amahawk just really is a drag on this game. A Nexus turret did fall here. Red team has to be careful that they don't just lose the war of attrition by not doing anything. Xell gonna escape from this one with his Void Spikes. Red team with a Nexus turret dropping low, now it does regenerate health, and Comatose should be able to defend it from dropping, but this could always be a target from Temhan. That Super Minion doing a lot of work. Super Minion actually taking out the turret, and Comatose can defend it himself. That's going to be an exposed Nexus here. The inhibitors have respawned, which does mean that you can't attack the Nexus until you take those out. But still, a much closer game than you would expect, and that red team should allow. Omahawk continuing to just kill these creeps, keep their, the useful members of the team from grabbing them. Hopefully, eventually he can stumble his way into a fight, maybe tank an auto attack or two. But this is largely a 4 versus 5, and I'm not really sure where it's going to go at this point. Red team hasn't been able to use their lead, hasn't been able to respond appropriately to the split pushing. And with the split pushing from Temhan, with the assassinations from Xell, they're keeping themselves in the game. Now Broken Chopsticks has picked up a bit of an aggressive build, going into their Baden's Death Cap with that Blasting One and Amplifying Tome that could actually be a Void Staff or a Rylai's Crystal Scepter, depending on the route that Broken Chopsticks wanted to go. I might expect the Rylai's just because of the amount of times Broken Chopsticks has gotten blown up. Now, taking a lot of health, trying to start this Baron. They won't have Omahawk with them, of course, but Xell will find Dark Parkour, try to move in for the assassination, but can't get it. Whatever you want is now there against 3 squishy enemies, and he's going to try and follow in. He doesn't want to be the front line, though. Sona flashes after, but can't find anything. Temhan continues to push in the top lane. Can't get much damage on the inhibitor, though. The Twin Shadows come out, and Big O comes over the wall for the instant triple kill. That was huge. From that barrel roll, they just immediately disappeared. That was so beautiful. I need to see that on replay. Oh, you can just hear that. You can just hear how good that felt for Big O there. And now with Red Team moving in the top lane, they're finally going to find the push into the base they're looking for. This will be the inhibitor for the Red Team. No one's going to be back in time to defend it. Temhan tries to push up on this inhibitor, is killed. He is going to respawn here, though. He does grab the inhibitor and now moves around. Is this going to be the expect action we're looking for? Comatose trying to follow into him. Now Temhan is attacking that Nexus, throws down the box there, and Comatose, this is a base race. Temhan has no health, but there's the fear from Comatose. Temhan has to be careful about the minions, and that will be him backing away for a second. Comatose, though, not quite sure where to find Temhan, misses the silence. Temhan is on the Nexus here, but so is the Red Team. They're going to take it out in time. That will be Red Team's game. A close game, though. Blue Team almost taking it in the end due to Temhan split pushing, but he just didn't have the damage on the Nexus that he needed. Red Team was enormous. They had a Sona with a Randuin's Omen, for goodness sake. And that is the game for the Red Team after 42 minutes of a 4v5 struggle. So, thank you all for watching. This has been DiscipleQuest to become the very best shoutcaster ever. I'm still sick, hopefully going to get better very soon so I can have my full voice as well as full state of mind. That was a fun game, though. Thank you very much to Xell, one of my new colleagues, for I guess not. He did. I would say for allowing me to drop in, but I didn't warn him beforehand. I just paid him a little bit of surprise visit in this platinum solo queue. If you guys want to go ahead and leave a comment below on the YouTube video, letting me know what I can do better like next time for your viewing pleasure, then make sure to let me know so I can make myself the best presenter, commentator, and overall personality in League. No, I'm not going for that. But shoutcasting, hey, if I can improve, then eventually I can really just live out my dream. So thanks for coming in. Make sure you stop by tomorrow where I will be presenting day 13, and you all have a great night.